Welcome back to Faith Formation. I hope that you had a wonderful Advent season and Christmas season. Now that we are back in original time, it's time to get back to Faith Formation. Like I said before the end of last year, that we're going to be starting in Unit 3, Lesson 11, which Unit 3 is how do we live with what we believe. And we're going to go into more detail of how we live the life that Jesus wants us to live. Okay, so we're going to start on page 103, which is Unit 11. What we're going to learn in this lesson is we're going to talk about free will, we're going to talk about morals, the three elements of morals, the intention of the acts, natural law, and St. Thomas of Aquarius. So we're going to start with free will. God freely chose to enter into a relationship with you and I. He did this by making us, creating us in His image. He gave us a body and a spiritual body, a spiritual soul, intelligence, and free will. Now, the free will in your book, back in the definition page on 257, I believe, says free will, God's gift of the free will and ability to choose to cooperate with His plans for us. So free will is us choosing if we want to do God's will or not. God gave us that option. We have seen over the years, over the concept of the Old Testament, where God got mad and destroyed Sodom and Gomorrah, destroyed the entire world with a flood because of the sins that we chose. But then He chose that we need to make up our mind if we want to be good or evil. He wants us to follow His path. That's why He has given us the commandments and gave us ultimately His Son, so we could follow His plan and become closer to God's will than our own. It's not easy. It takes a choice. You could choose to do those dishes that your mom's been asking for, or you can choose to watch TV. Both of those are free will. You have the free right to choose which one. Your mom might not like it if you watch TV instead of doing the dishes. And you need to talk to your family about it. But that is a free will choice. God gives us a free will choice to follow the 10 Commandments. Honor thy parents. So if your mom asks you to do those dishes, that's the commandment. Honor thy parents. You should do the dishes. With that, it gives us I'm scattered brain with not having my bullet points to talk about. I will fix that for next video. That we are both body and soul together is what makes us fully human. That we get to choose. God did not give the animals of this planet free will. He gave it only to us humans. He did not give it to the plants of this land. He did not give it to the bodies of the universe. He gave it to human beings, which that is what makes us fully human. Having free will makes us responsible for our own choices and actions. It means we have the ability to choose what we do or do not do. This does not mean we do whatever we want. God's law requires us to do what is good and to reject what is sinful. God's grace helps us to choose what is good. My kids, we talk about grace because it's really hard to understand at their age. That it's kind of like your guardian angel is helping to show you what God wants you to do. You can choose to listen to her or him, but he's always there talking to you to help you choose and go towards God. When we move on to morals, we're on page 105 in the book. Morals is the goodness or evil of our actions. A good moral life is lived according to the teachings of Jesus and the church. Each choice or action we make is based on 3 elements. The objective, which is the first element, the object or what we do, the intention, the goal or why we are doing it, and the situation or circumstances in which we perform the action, such as when, where, with whom, and how. All 3 of these have to be good actions in order to be considered God's morals. He doesn't want us to say, I'm going to pray for this person, or tell this person, I'm going to pray for you because God tells me to, and then never go and pray for that person. That defeats the purpose of God's morals. A good moral choice is one in which the object or goal of what we are doing and the circumstances of the action are good. The intention behind our actions, why we do the act, also must be good. However, a good intention never makes a bad or evil action right. Some acts are always evil and morally wrong. The end never justifies the means. In addition, the situation or circumstances within which we make a moral choice can either increase or decrease the goodness of an action. The act, the intention, and the circumstances all have to be good in order to be a moral good act. Now, it's kind of like this. Here's an example. You wake up and you go and see that there is a whole lot of dishes in the sink. And I use this a lot because there's a whole lot of dishes in my sink almost all the time. Because I have 3 boys who eat everything. So there's a whole lot of dishes in the sink. And instead of go and watch TV, you stand there and do the dishes. But while you're doing the dishes, you're thinking to yourself, if I get these dishes done, I can go tell Mom I did the dishes, and then I will get something that I want. Is that a moral of, are you doing that with the right intention, or are you doing that for your own benefit? So you're doing it, in this sense, you're doing it because you want to get something out of it. You're not doing it because it's going to make the other person happy. So the ends does not justify the means because you're doing it not in the right intent. It is so much easier to explain morals when we are not sitting at a computer screen because I can't judge how much you understand what I'm talking about. There is a situation in the book that I am already put on the Facebook group, and I want you guys to talk about the morals and the intentions of that together in the Facebook group. Open the communications, and so I can see if you guys understand morals more, and I will input if I need to. But I want you guys to talk among yourself and to find out what is Rayon's intentions. Are they good? Are they bad? Are they helpful? What is her act? Okay? So look for that in the Facebook group. So you have to remember that God gave us this gift, the ability to choose right and wrong. And it's really strong ability to choose right and wrong. It's hard. It's a hard choice. But I want you to remember something that's in your book. It says, this freedom to be responsible for our own choices is a, kind of crossed it off a little bit, tremendous force for good in the world when we direct it towards God, towards happiness with Him. There is always the possibility of choosing between good and evil in every situation. When we choose the good, we grow towards the life with God that He desires for us. The more we choose and do what is good, the freer we become. When we choose evil, we sin by failing to love. By God's grace, we use our free will to choose what is good and right, even when it is difficult for us to do so. The Holy Spirit working within us guides us to choose what is good and just. Most especially, we grow in the proper use of God's gift of free will through the sacraments. The sacraments help bring us closer to God and help us to understand our free will more and more. Now we're going to go and talk about natural law. Natural law is really difficult to talk about on video chat, especially when I can't get your guys' feedback and ask you questions. Natural law, in your book on page 258, it says, our God-given desire to be in the right relationship with Him, others, and ourselves. The moral law we are born with, placed in our hearts by God. Okay? I know that is a lot to take in. It's hard to understand. It's hard to understand just for an adult. So I know that it's hard to understand for 5th graders. But the sense of right and wrong is based on our natural laws. God gave us the gift of knowing what is right and wrong. Sometimes we don't even need to be taught it. Like in the Bible with Cain and Abel. Cain got jealous and killed Abel. And God came to him and said, what did you do? And Abel knew in his heart that he did wrong, that he killed. And that was before the commandments. And later on, God would give us the commandments of thou shalt not kill. But before that, he didn't have that. That was already implanted, or God put it onto his heart, everybody's heart, when he breathed the breath of life into us, our soul. He gave us the ability to know that just what is just and what is not just. Natural law directs us to the naturally seek God and follow a path where we choose what is good for us and for others. We have this natural understanding of what is morally good because we are created in God's image. We have the use of reason and common sense. Natural law helps us discover, using reason, the way to true happiness. At the same time, it helps us recognize that which turns us away from God, that which is evil. Natural law expresses the diligent of the human person. It is the guide for how we live as God's images in this world. It is the basis for our fundamentally rights and duties as people. In Matthew 7:12, it says, "Do to others whatever you would have done to you. This is the law and the prophets." Jesus gave this to us as the ultimate commandment, one of them. Love your God above everything, and love your neighbor as yourself. All common sense says that we don't want somebody to come up to us and yell at us and scream at us and throw things at us or whip our papers up or say that our drawings are bad or say that we can't talk right or we don't dress right. So we don't do it to other people. We show our faith in Jesus by how we treat others. So the best way that our natural laws tells us is to always treat people exactly how you want to be treated. We'll already move on now. Our saint for the week is St. Thomas Aquinas. St. Thomas Aquinas is one of the greatest saints that you will find out in a little bit. So we'll watch the video and then we'll come back and talk about it.
St. Thomas Aquinas is a partner in faith. When he was born in Italy in 1225, one of the quickest paths to success was to become a holy monk or a fearless soldier. But Thomas didn't want to do either of these things. Instead, he wanted to become a poor, simple Dominican friar. Thomas's family hated this idea and tried very hard to stop him. But God's plan for Thomas wouldn't be changed. During his studies, Thomas's professors could tell that Thomas was extremely intelligent. In time, Thomas became a very successful professor and debater, proving his professors right. Thomas was also a skilled writer, writing about many things, but mostly about God. Thomas wasn't just a great writer or a smart man. He was also very holy. He tried his best to avoid committing sins and spent most of his free time praying and reading the Bible. Thomas's writings were so powerful that almost everyone who studies God and the Catholic faith reads his books, even today. All that said, it isn't so surprising that Thomas Aquinas is now considered one of the greatest saints of all time. That's a true partner in faith.
So as you heard, St. Thomas Aquinas became a Dominican. He has huge writings that are still read today. Many people read them. It teaches us about how to make confessions, how to be a better person. All his books there's some books for kids that have him in it. There is saint books for adults. He's just a great saint to model and to ask for intercessions for. I know that this video was a little off tilted for what I normally do. I will try to be better next week as soon as my life is not as hectic. Hopefully we will be able to see each other in person soon. That would be nice. But until then, I will see you guys next week in the next video. Please do your Christ in Us exams. They are up for 2 weeks. I am not going to extend them again. You have 2 weeks to finish your exams. That's plenty of time to get them done. And remember to look at the Facebook group for the discussion board. Okay? See you later.